Good afternoon. It's Saturday, 10th of July, and in the Reading Nook, I have another big pile of parcels to get through and unbox. Fortunately, the weather is good, it's bright and warm, and I have a nice hot cup of tea. So let's get started. I'm going to pull this off the pile, which is the Soulbound Starter Set for Warhammer Roleplay, or Warhammer Age of Sigmar Roleplay, published by Cubicle 7. Begin your perilous adventures in the mortal realms. Let's have a look. Begin your perilous adventures in the mortal realms. The city of Brightsphere is a bastion of light and civilization in a world filled with violence and horror. The fledgling city provides those who would make the perilous journey there with opportunities unlike anywhere else in the mortal realms. But Brightsphere is not the haven of safety that people hoped. The influx of traders and fortune seekers has brought with it gangs and cutthroats. The ancient magical vaults beneath the city have drawn power-hungry mages and scientists keen to discover the dark secrets buried below. And the corrupting influence of Tzeentch has not left the city. The fate of Brightspear will be determined by its people and the heroes that stand to defend it. If they band together and work to a common cause, the city may yet survive. If they give themselves over to mistrust, fear and hatred, the city will surely fall to the dark gods of chaos. You are soulbound, destined for greatness or death in the war for the mortal realms. The Warhammer Age of Sigmar Soulbound Starter Set contains everything you need to begin role-playing epic adventures in the perilous lands of the mortal realms. Whether this is your first ever tabletop role-playing game or you're an experienced game master preparing your next campaign, this box set is the perfect starting point for anyone interested in Warhammer Age of Sigmar Soulbound. The starter set includes Faltering Light, a 48-page adventure that sees the heroes venture into the ancient Agalaxian ruins beneath the city of Brightspear. The adventure teaches you and your friends how to play, no prep required. Brightspear City Guide, a 64-page guide to the city of Brightspear, filled with strange and wonderful locations, unique characters, story hooks, and featuring 8 one-page adventures set in Brightspear. This is the perfect way to continue your Soulbound campaign. An introduction to the world of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, 5 gatefold character sheets with pre-generated characters, each with their own goals, background, and connections, 3 two-sided rules references with rules for tests, combat, and spellcasting, a 2-sided sheet with a map of Brightspear on one side and the lands of Vesperia on the other, tokens for tracking Metal, Soulfire and Doom, and a set of 8 6-sided dice. It's designed for players aged 14 up, take 1 to 4 hours, 2 to 7 players. So there we go, there's the back of the box. I'll just show you that so you can see everything in its place before I open up the box. So this is published by Cubicle 7, and I have to say, I like what Cubicle 7 has done with Warhammer so far. I haven't glanced at the core rulebook, but I have basically looked at the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Starter Set, and it's fantastic. It really does give you everything you need to play, dice, characters, and a really good starting sort of like mini campaign almost, a basic adventure, a setup and a series of adventures which you can go on. And you get a lot of play from that box, and that's what a good starter box should do. It really shouldn't do, one scenario and you're done, or half of one scenario and you need to go and download the other half, or one scenario need to go download the other one, to really sort of like get the full experience. So not every starter box does that. Certainly the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay one did. So I'm hoping that I have the same high hopes for the Soulbound Starter Set. So let's just get the knife and slide that into place. Just get the plastic. Way. So that's got a nice feel to it, textured feel to it. It's not smooth, that feels good in the hands. And then we open up, and the first thing you see is that. Read this first. Every good starter set should have, or basically a box role-playing game always used to have a sheet saying read this first. Here's the starting point, and I like that that's got one in here. So here are the dice, and essentially instead of the 6, it's got that logo on it. At this point, I don't know what that logo is for. Okay. And the other thing is, basically, I've just opened up the box itself, and I've just noted, okay, you have tables on here. Okay, so basically you've got a list of here of common skill combinations, advantages and disadvantage, the ladder for basically, I'm presuming for skill results, dealing damage, attack difficulty numbers and so on, making an attack, range, wounds, resting, aqua garanis, basically which basically it's like healing potion just from reading that. So nice sturdy box, and it's the fact that you can, the referee GM can use it as a reference at the table. Now my only comment would be, if you're going to use this as a GM, having it sat like as a GM sat sort of like that at the table, that's not very stable. If you'd had it like that, it might have been better. But obviously I presume what's probably more likely to happen is the GM is going to be rolling dice and have it sat on the table. He can refer to it when he looks down, roll dice into it, that sort of thing. So, taking up dice, we've got this read first folder. So on the back, character sheet, and inside you have a description. What's in the box? What is Warhammer Age of Sigmar? So basic description of that. You're introduced to that, and then here's a guide to the Mortal Realms. So essentially, nice gatefold. Read this first sheet, because normally in the classic thing you just get a sheet of paper. So here's the top sheet. Look at this first. Look at this next. This is actually really useful. Lots of information to get you started and basically pull you into the game. So next we have the character sheets. So this is Vel Arturius, and as you can see, okay, it not only tells you essentially, okay, who she is, what is she like, and why play her. Okay, it's quotes. Here's some absolutely fantastic, just simple summary of the character in just one column, just a few words, ready to play. So for example, quotes: our enemies have fled, they are cowards, but what is this? Or I will give you a chance to be clever, but then the judgment of Sigmar will be upon you. And then who is she? She's a Night Quester of the Stormcast Eternals. She embodies Sigmar's beliefs completely and is determined to stand against those who would see a return to the Age of Chaos. Okay, so what she's like? Unwavering in her devotion to Sigmar. She's an unparalleled warrior and an imposing presence among the party. Why play her? She's a highly capable warrior who prefers going toe-to-toe with her enemies. Oh, and there's a first spelling mistake. I didn't know you ended enemies with the word T. She's a warrior and stalwart defender of allies. With a special talent, she can challenge even the most dangerous enemies, and she's always ready for battle, and everyone knows it. So you open up, and you have the character details on the one side. So there we have, basically age, pronouns, species, distinctive features, etc. And then goals, connections, secrets, and gear and currency. Before we go on to the full stats. In the middle there, and on the right hand side, there's an explanation of what the character sheet is. So that looks quite a lot busy, a lot of information to go through. So if you've never seen that sort of thing, that might be intimidating. But over here, okay, here's an explanation of what's going on. So you can sit down at the table, look at that and go, oh, okay, what's this for? What's that? And it starts telling you. And there is no sort of like sheet elsewhere, sort of like going, okay, with an arrow pointed to a bit of the character sheet, and here's a bit of text and so on, explain what it is. It's built into every character sheet. So next going down we have Malbra Daneson. There we go. And also on the back, I didn't see that, but okay, because I didn't look. But on the back we have full illustration of the character. So there's a lot of information packed onto that. Great illustrations. Okay, now you're getting the full feeling of what each of the characters are. So here we go. I'm not going to go through all of these because essentially you can see, you get a taste of it when you're going through. There we go. I'm not quite sure. I'm not going to say yes, almost like I Am Groot, but obviously not. Just digging further and further. And last and not least, there we go. Now we get to the first of the books. This, okay, so here we go. My one comment would be, oh, well, this is nice, but again, I keep saying this, it really would be nice if this would had this is done on really nice glossy paper. Could that have been a card cover? Could that have just made it a little bit sturdier? But essentially, this is the scenario. Basically, we've got an introduction, and this is essentially this is the next book down. It's saying, you know, what's a role-playing game? Why are you here? The players are here to play. Everyone is respectful. Everyone has limits. When you need to play, telling you what's in the box. Basically, this is for the GM's benefit. And it gets into the adventure. And it's saying essentially, learn as you go. During the adventure, each section will teach you and the players the game's rules, with later sections building on the earlier ones. Look for the special rules boxes, especially if you're using this as a rule book after playing through the main adventure. We also have needed a number of rule summaries on the separate pieces of cardstock. Once you know the basics, these summaries can help keep the game moving. Some of the information on the summaries contain special case rules not included in the book. You'll want the core rule book eventually for those situations, but you can run all of the suggested adventures using these basic rules. So this is this yeah. So we've got basically more background and just setting everything up, the rules, how to make a test, essentially, yeah, just taking basic setup and so on, pulling you into the adventure. And interacting with various NPCs, nicely illustrated. Don't know. I mean, basically, sort of. I don't know anything about the adventure because obviously I'm looking at this for the first time, and going into the depths of the Undercity through the shifting halls. And again, we have, for example, just as we've got a basic earlier, we have a guide to making tests. Later on, complex tests and spellcasting. And then we get into combat, and it's well, like here basically, when you attack an enemy, you do everything you can to deal with them proves bodily harm, and they do everything they can to avoid it. The steps for making an attack are as follows. So I want to hit you, you must be at close range, or I want to shoot you, range below. And it's taking you through the steps one by one. It's very user friendly. It'll just from looking at first pass. And we've got basically a table of encounters, so weird encounters to have, basically just to colour your adventure into the depths. And similar just things with strange sights, and confusing passages. Nice clearly done maps as well, where they appear. just flipping through, and you're going deeper and deeper, all the way to the final confrontation and discovery of what's going on. And then in the appendix we've got essentially allies and enemies and all the full stats for them. So yeah, a mini bestiary there, including major NPCs. And then basically we've got a list of all the traits on the back for quick reference. So you probably won't be referring to that very often if you're running the adventure, because essentially that involves a little bit page flipping. And then we go on to counters. So just putting these back in because I don't want them to get lost. So essentially, literally these come out very easily. That's quite nice. I like that. So essentially they come out very easily if you're using miniatures or want to use miniatures. And then we have a comprehensive guide to the city of Brightsphere, Brightsphere City Guide. And this is a bit sturdier because it is square bound, whereas you've got basically the magazine style binding on there. And this is more of a useful book in the long term, I think. Nice map of the city on the back with a reference. Oh, sorry, this one up the right way. So you're dealing with things like economy and trade. You've got a list of places of interest. And economy and trade is important because essentially all your player characters will want to go shopping at some point. So there's a list of markets, as well as taverns, inns, places of worship, and other sites, and of course a list of goods and services. So yeah, NPC, basically various locations as well. Basically just given one paragraph, basically quick descriptions, but again, all very playable. And you can basically use that again and again. And essentially, presumably laying the foundation for the full role-playing game if you want to continue playing in and around Brightsphere. And then it takes you beyond the walls to what's outside. I would have liked an area map with that as well, but and we go into basically looking at the state of Asperia. So it's obviously this isn't what you would say a comprehensive guide as such, but it's a lot of information. It's a starting point, but still giving you enough to get involved. Then basically, chapter 4 got section on threats faced by the city of Brightsphere, and basic where have we got threats, rumours, fears, and threats. A couple of some scenario ideas there. Just more information. You can continue using this information and running an ongoing campaign. So Gloomspite Gits and Bad Moon Rising. You can continue playing the characters and with the GM fleshing out this information as necessary. That's a nice touch, and I'm hoping obviously that the Cubicle 7 will go on to support the setting with more information, essentially, as they've done with Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. So yeah, that's the guide to Brightsphere. I'm going to get some references on like cards. So we've got basically a map of the area that's double-sided. So essentially that's where Asperia is. You've got the city of Brightsphere there, and then we'll basically map of Brightsphere itself. And then these are again done on like cardboard. So I suppose spell reference sheet, how to cast a spell, rules reference sheet, combat reference sheet, all very well, nicely done. Then of course, this is just going to come out. A bit of advertising for the very nice redone Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay campaign. The redone, basically the revision of the classic Enemy Within campaign. Advert for that, and of course for the Soulbound role-playing game. But it's interesting. Basically, the first thing that when I opened up and when I got to the bottom of the box, which is got another map of the area, right, is seeing that, not that, but that's fine. I think basically just purely coincidence. But if you into Warhammer, you should be getting this in some form, whether it's the very nice editions or the standard editions. And I will probably I've got a couple of those. I will do an unboxing of those to show you at some point as well. So let's work our way back through this and put it all away. This, you get, as you can see, you get a lot in this box set. Basically one single, basically a reasonable scenario. I think it'll probably take you a couple of sessions or so to do, and plenty of information on Brightsphere, the setting, so that you can continue playing. Obviously, a set of dice, characters, and everything in there, and it's all very well presented in this box, which has like a it's like canvas feel to it. Very nicely done. So that is Soulbound Starter Set for Warhammer Age of Sigmar roleplay from Cubicle 7. I will do a review of that in due course. I do enjoy writing reviews of starter sets. They're always interesting to see how it's done. I have a good idea of what a starter set should look like because I've reviewed lots of them. Basically, essentially a good starter set should give you a flavour and feel of the game, what type of characters you're playing, and it should really entice the player and GM want to go to take the next step into the full role-playing game itself, and it should facilitate that. And I think just on a browse through an unboxing of this, I think this does it. I'm not surprised because essentially it's following the same path as the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay starter set. Well, thank you very much for watching another unboxing in the Nook. If you've enjoyed this, please do click the like button down below. If you've got any comments or feedback, thank you very much. I do appreciate you taking the time to make them, and I do read them and I do respond. And lastly, of course, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook and have me sit here with a nice hot cup of tea and a package, basically something to unbox and talk about for 10 minutes or so, or 20 minutes in this case, then please do subscribe. And then you'll be alerted to yet more unboxings here in the Nook. In the meantime, again, thank you very much for watching. I'll be back shortly with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.